Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have Katie. Her bomb drop is November of 2021 and her date of marriage is 2003. She has a Boomerang who is a high energy replayer. She says, my husband moved out 2 days after bomb drop. And then his girlfriend moved in around Christmas. And then in January 22, he filed for divorce. He rarely speaks to me as I don't think he's allowed to. That's key right there, as I don't think he's allowed to. And his depression is all my fault, according to his girlfriend. Anyway, my husband is trying to bully me out of our house so we can have the farm and the house and continue the same life, except with her. Yeah. Okay. I've been using the mirrors in the bedroom as motivational boards until he started coming into the house daily to see what I was writing on my mirrors and at times erasing what he didn't like, such as his name or marriage or parts of prayers, etc. He still comes into the house even though he doesn't live here. This makes me think he is a boomerang. Yeah, he's a boomerang. I'll go for at least that, yes. And here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the girlfriend, typically what I see with alienators is, and I'm not saying that they have personality disorders. I'm saying tendencies towards these, and often those are tendencies that even the alienators might not have outside of this context because they are in a limerent affair. They're in an illicit affair where there's a spouse, and that causes the MLCer and the alienator to go down toward negative coping skills. Female alienators, I notice, have a lot of borderline personality traits. Male MLCers, and that is the same, also female MLCers, borderline personality traits. Male MLCers, narcissism, narcissistic traits. That doesn't mean either of those people had those outside of this context of illicit limerent affair or midlife crisis. Okay. Now, so what I'm seeing though in this alienator is there might be more narcissistic traits. And here's why. She seems to be controlling so many of the strings in a more overt way. The way you said they want to continue the same life. He wants to continue it, but with her. She's just moving in and replacing you. The ones where the alienator is just a stand-in for you. They replace you. They take over your life. It could even be her wanting that rather than him. I see them with more narcissistic traits. They're a lot more overt with their actions towards you. They're not afraid of you. And she doesn't seem to be. You said you don't think he's allowed. So there's some control issues that she's controlling him. Now, he's coming in. I'm seeing narcissistic traits with him, but I don't know if she's the puppet master on that. With him coming in and actually changing what you have on your mirrors, that's pretty overt behavior. There's probably some gaslighting going on in there that he's doing, but he is taking some serious control over you. And that's more than they normally do. What I would normally think they would do is they'd see what you're writing and they would use it to make snide comments about you or to say it to other people. But to actually go in and erase and make other comments, that's another step. It's not that it's abnormal. I'm just noticing higher levels of narcissism, or it might be her running the show in there. And he's going back telling her these things, and she might be giving him some pointers on what to do. I don't know. That I'm just saying that some of the things you've said, he's not allowed, that was the two biggest clues are he's not allowed and trying to live the same life, continuing it except with her. And that she just seems to have all of this control. Those motivational things on him changing him is a big deal. I think he is a boomerang. Him coming over to the house, he needs to poke you. It is when you're dealing with somebody who's narcissistic, and I'm thinking of this right now as the alienator controlling the puppet that is him. Because MLCers tend to be, male MLCers are narcissistic, but they don't all have to poke you and antagonize you. But she does. She is one that is going to want to do this because she wants to bother you. She wants to take over your life, and she wants you to know it. She's not afraid of you, and she is going to be in the background trying to pull all of the strings. I could be wrong about that. So I don't want you to take this and run, and people think that. But there's just a different kind of level than is normal. It's not that I haven't seen it before. It's just not as common. But this is what I see more in a narcissistic alienator. And he's going to keep doing this, and he's going to be controlled and try and bully you. Your job is to detach. Your job is to learn communication skills, smart contact, but also I want you to go to the Black Swan group on YouTube. And it is about negotiation, and they work with businesses, but it's Chris Voss's, let me get this in, Chris Voss's website, and he wrote this book, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it. I've seen a lot of this be really good for communicating with an MLCer, but I'm talking to you about it specifically right now because of the negotiating. When you come in at the divorce table and how you're going to negotiate with him. I would get this book, and they have more of those tips on their YouTube channel. So the Black Swan group on the YouTube channel of that, they put out little soundbite kind of videos that can be helpful. But read this book. It's amazing. And learn some of the communication skills for negotiating, because you're going to sit across from the table and he's going to try and bully you. And Chris Voss was a hostage negotiator. So his job was to negotiate with the people that are maybe in the bank with hostages. So that is a very brief hostage negotiation. Or with kidnappers, international hostages, where they have them for months. And he had to build a rapport with these people. He had to build trust with the kidnappers. And he had to negotiate with them. It wasn't just the bank robbers who said, get me a helicopter. But it was the kidnappers who say, I want $5 million or $50 million, do all these things to release them and trade these people. And some of these things he wasn't allowed to do under anything. And so he had to know what certain questions to ask and how to get them to not hang up on it, to keep listening, to build trust with them. The few things I'll say, it's a whole book, it's rooted in empathy. He calls it tactical empathy. So you're using your empathy as the overarching, as one of your strategies. So it's tactical, laser pointed with a purpose. And one of his big questions, he says, is how am I supposed to do that? So you're sitting at the negotiating table with your husband, and he wants you to live on this much amount instead of, $200 alimony instead of $3,000 alimony. Your question is, how am I supposed to do that? And you say it softly. He calls it the late night DJ voice, softly. How am I supposed to do that? Now you've thrown the gall back in his court, and you're not saying it. How am I supposed to do that? Because obviously that's going to antagonize anybody. So I want you to recognize that this is a big crisis. And you're in the beginning. Your bomb drop wasn't even a year ago. And if this alienator doesn't stick around, that could change the dynamics, and you'll find out more about how his levels of narcissism are. If she does stick around, you're going to be mama bear for your kids, and you're going to set boundaries, and you protect yourself. And you'll learn communication skills. I want you working on detachment, because this is not personal. She's out to get your life, to steal it and take over. Just put on a you mask so that it just seems like a smooth transition. It's not. Okay? I hope this was helpful. I'll see everybody in the next question.